Anthrax Letters. Anthrax attacks in the United States, also known as Amerithrax from its FBI case name, occurred over the course of several weeks beginning on Tuesday, September 18, 2001. This was 1 week after the September 11th attacks. Letters containing anthrax spores were mailed to several news media offices and 2 Democratic U.S. senators, killing 5 people and infecting 17 others. Bruce Ivins became a focus of the investigation around April 4, 2005. Ivins was a scientist who worked at the government's biodefense labs in Maryland. On July 27, 2008, Ivins took an intentional drug overdose and died 2 days later in a hospital. Here are the envelopes in which the anthrax letters were mailed. Linguistic assessment. It is highly probable, bordering on certainty, that all 3 letters were authored by the same person. Letters 1 and 2 are identical copies. Letter 3, however, contains a somewhat different message from the other letters. The anthrax utilized in letter 3 was much more refined, more potent, and more easily dispersed than letters 1 and 2. Here is one of the letters. The characteristics include the authors used dashes in the writing of the date 09/11/01. Many people use the slash to separate the day, month, year. In writing the number 1, the author chooses to use a formalized, more detailed version. He writes it as 1 instead of the simple vertical line. The author uses the word cannot when many people prefer to spell it as one word, cannot. The author writes it all in uppercase, block-style letters. However, the first letter of the first word of each sentence is written in slightly larger uppercase lettering. Also, the first letter of all proper nouns, like names, is slightly larger. This is apparently the author's way of indicating a word should be capitalized in uppercase lettering. For whatever reason, he may not be comfortable or practiced in writing in lowercase lettering. The names and addresses on each envelope are noticeably tilted on a downward slant from left to right. This may be a characteristic seen on other envelopes he has sent. The envelopes are of the pre-stamped variety, the stamps denoting 34 cents, which are normally available directly from the post office. They are not the traditional business size envelopes, but the smaller size measuring approximately 6 1/4 by 3.5 inches. Behavioral assessment. Based on the selection of anthrax as the weapon of choice by this individual, the offender is likely an adult male. If employed, is likely to be in a position requiring little contact with the public or other employees. He is apparently comfortable working with an extremely hazardous material. He probably has a scientific background to some extent, or at least a strong interest in science. He has likely taken appropriate protective steps to ensure his own safety, which may include the use of an anthrax vaccination or antibiotics. Has access to a source of anthrax and possesses knowledge and expertise to refine it. Possesses or has access to some laboratory equipment, for example, microscope, glassware, centrifuge. Has familiarity, direct or indirect, with the Trenton, New Jersey metropolitan area. Did not select victims randomly. He made an effort to identify the correct address, including zip code, of each victim, and used sufficient postage to ensure proper delivery of the letters. Is a non-confrontational person, at least in his public life. He lacks the personal skills necessary to confront others. He chooses to confront his problems long distance and not face to face. He may hold grudges for a long time, vowing that he will get even with them one day. While these earlier incidents were not actual anthrax mailings, he may have chosen to anonymously harass other individuals or entities that he perceived as having wronged him.